So we all know it's almost 2026, and I made this video last year in 2024 on how I was going to move differently and how I was going to accomplish these goals, and I was going to work really hard on just trying to become the best version of myself in every single way, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, just really being all there with myself. And people don't understand that that is the most important thing when it comes to your every single day life, is knowing who you are, knowing what you want, not what anybody else wants, not knowing what your friends like. It doesn't really matter. Anybody that is around you, it does not matter at the end of the day, right? Environment is super, super important, but if you are not aligning yourself with your goals, that is going to contradict every single thing that you have going on and all the goals that you have. You have to align yourself with the identity, and I talk about this in my reels a lot. But if you're not aligning yourself with your goals, eventually you're gonna realize that, damn, how am I not getting to where I want to be? It's gonna be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, right? You told yourself you wanted to get in the best shape possible. You told yourself that you wanted to save $2,000. Well, were you going to the gym, right? Were you saving money? You had to start asking yourself, was I actually aligning myself with that identity or aligning myself with the person that I wanna become? I think that's what it comes down to. In this video, I wanna talk about a couple of things. And nothing too crazy, but I wanna make the same video just in a different way, no vlog style, nothing like that. I'm not really gonna do anything on New Year's. I know it's not New Year's just yet, and I made a video literally, I think it was like January something, or I think it was like December or January something. I was editing the video, Jalen came into town. It's a little different. And I wanna sit down and just have a conversation with you and really just get to understand on who's watching this video, or make you guys understand of who I am as a person and how I developed this year. And now it's almost 2026. And now I just have to take what I learned this year into the next year. And if you don't know this stuff that you want to do by now, that's totally okay. I'm not saying that you have to know your vision. I'm not saying that, but I think this year should be building that foundation, that vision board, the person you want to be, the things that you want, either it be a car, either it be a new house, either it be money, or it doesn't really matter. And I talk about how money is not that important, but in reality, at the end of the day, it does provide freedom. It does give you certain things. And that's why in my videos, I talk about how I was happy on the outside, but internally I was not happy, right? No matter how much money I was making. So that's where that's where fulfillment has come. And I started serving people. I started becoming a coach. I started helping people become successful within themselves, right? Physically, mentally, spiritually. If we've talked about in the one-on-one calls. I really appreciate all of my one-on-one clients this year have totally changed my life and totally changed the directory of where I want to go. The feedback, the calls, all of those things are documented on my computer that I can download, I can watch. And that is the exact thing that I wanted this year. And I put that in my vision board. I put that in my video. I want to become the best coach. And I was watching that video today and I said I want to become a top personal training coach or a nutrition, a lifestyle. It doesn't really matter of what my coaching really is. Ever since I was personal training, I wanted to become a fitness coach, right? I wanted to become an online fitness coach. And now I'm a lifestyle and fitness coach, so I can help people with other goals and not just that, right? Financially, spiritually, physically, get them in the best shape possible, because you are the person that you look in the mirror at the end of the day. And I think those are very, very important for us to talk about in this video. But if you guys do not know, I'm from Michigan. I moved from Michigan. I went from Michigan to Houston, Texas, to Miami, Florida in the past almost 4 years now. Actually, not 4 years, but 3 years officially. And I'm moving out of this apartment soon. I'm super excited to get a new one. But the thing is, let me tell you this. I didn't know where I was going to end up at all. I didn't know where I was going to be. I didn't have a vision board. I didn't even know exactly what I wanted out of life before I moved out of my hometown. But taking that risk, it comes with a reward at the end of the day. With no risk, there's no reward at the end of the day. It just matters if you are good with your risk management. How willing are you to get out your comfort zone and to do different things, right? Are you willing to start a new job that's gonna be hard? Are you willing to go to the gym even though people are going to look at you? Are you willing to sacrifice the old feelings for new feelings? And honestly, I shouldn't even be saying that, because you shouldn't be based off of your feelings. As soon as I stop caring of how I feel, instead of worrying about how can I just be better, right? If I feel like shit today, it better be like me being sick. It better not be me giving excuses. That's the reason why sometimes people don't understand. That's why you feel bad, is because you don't listen to your gut. You don't do the things that you keep on telling yourself that you need to do. And that's what's gonna enter you into the trap of not getting stuff done. Procrastination is the biggest thing. And that's something that I really worked on this year, but I really wanna take on to 2026 to get better. But that's the thing, right? When I moved, I was delusional. I didn't really care what the outcome was, because in reality, I knew that the life that I was already having, I knew that it wouldn't even get worse. Once you already hit rock bottom, people don't understand, there's nowhere else to go, right? So why wouldn't you want to go from rock bottom to up, right? Up meaning that you're scaling up, right? The trend line's going up, you're becoming more aware within yourself, you're learning more, you're getting in better shape, your health is better because health is wealth. You start to understand patterns with yourself of what actually makes you feel good within yourself. And some people just don't change that. It starts off with changing the identity of the person you want to become, I promise you. And it wasn't always like that. When I first moved down to Houston, I lost myself making money. What was next in my life? And the thing is the reason why I came down to Houston is because I like to train, right? It wasn't about money. It wasn't about any of that. I wanted to become an influencer, but I wanted to become something like a fitness influencer or become a fitness coach. And I was doing that already before. When I first moved down to Houston, I started doing TikTok, right? And TikTok started going really well. I started making money off of it. I started doing coaching. I started making, I started selling $200 packages, and it was really cool at first. I made my first 10K a month, and I don't really know the exact day. And because this is why I didn't really journal too much. I didn't document because the dopamine level was so high. Sometimes when your dopamine levels are high, you're not really focused on what you're getting. And that's why planning ahead of time is gonna be super important, but we'll get back to that. But my dopamine was so high, I was just making money, selling clients. I wasn't thinking about myself. So when it came down to it, I started eating like shit. My habits were bad. I was waking up late. I wasn't doing client fulfillment the way that I should be. I fell down to this trap that I was doing every single thing that I possibly can, but I wasn't actually focusing on what? Myself. Right? My self-development, my self-growth. And that's why I'm a lifestyle coach now. And that's why I try to help people really try to become successful within themselves, right? There's self-love and there's self-confidence. There's the person in the inside and there's a person on the outside. And sometimes the reflection on the outside, it's reflected off the inside. If that doesn't make any sense to you, just replay what I just said. You don't understand on the things that are happening every single day if you're not becoming aware of it. You have to become aware for you to understand it, right? Do I not have a routine? Am I not actually aligning myself with my goals? Am I telling myself that I want to make more money, but I'm spending more money than I'm making? Am I not going to the gym? Am I not trying to focus on my health? Why am I not getting the muscle? Why am I not getting the progress that I want? Am I not eating right? Is my nutrition off? I'm talking about certain calculated moves that are going to make you way better in the future than where you just stay stuck. You just stay stagnant, because a lot of people don't understand you can get out of that feeling. You can, but you have to try every single day and become 1% better, right? So when I was down in Houston, right, I didn't really care. I was only focused on money, but then I lost my physique, right? I lost, most of my business because I wasn't doing client fulfillment the right way possible. It was a little janky business that I was doing. And obviously I was, getting client results, but I wasn't really treating it like it was a business. And that was the problem. So then TikTok started paying me more money. I made my first 20K a month, and then it was like 30K a month. And I'm very, very talkative about this because this was the journey of everything, right? Why would I sit here and lie to you guys and tell you guys that I was broke and like all these streamers or these TikTokers gonna do, I don't have a lot of money. Now I was making a lot, but I was also spending a lot too as well. So keep in mind, right? Like I told you, if you're trying to invest more money, trying to save more money, and you want a money goal, how can you even do that if you're not even saving money or not focused on what you really are there for, right? So that you have to question yourself on what happened in that very, very moment. I lost myself, and then I moved to Miami. I made a big leap. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at this point, I got extremely blessed in my life. And I'm just giving you a rundown of what really happened back then so you understand my timeline now, right? Because I think this is so important to not only explain of what's gonna happen, but what already happened in my life that made me where I am today. I moved to Miami, and once I moved to Edgewater in Miami, it was like, dude, flowers and rainbows were flying around. Like I thought, super cool. It was, but I haven't went to Miami or been to Miami ever since I was 16 years old. So I really never, that's actually cap. I went to go visit it for my birthday. So I went to go check. It was either Tampa or Miami, but I decided to move to Miami because, the lifestyle, the cars, like looking at all that stuff, it's all good in the moment, but that's not fulfilling. And I didn't realize that, so I was in my, $3,500 apartment, and it was a lot of money to pay at such a young age, but I made it through, obviously. I'm not there anymore. It came into a realization that how can I be waking up every single day late, not having my goals aligned, not growing my business, but solely relied off of, just making money and having that be a feeling. And I just lost myself through certain things, right? Like gambling, smoking weed every single day on my balcony. That's the perk of having a balcony. If you like to smoke cigars or weed, if you like to smoke cigar or marijuana, you can literally smoke it on the balcony, right? I could literally go outside, smoke it if I wanted to, but I don't smoke anymore. I quit that. But eventually I lost myself through that, spending a lot of money gambling. I just was being dumb with my money, being dumb financially, and then boom. So it comes down to it, right? Where you need to understand that you kind of have to align yourself. If that makes sense now you can kind of understand of where I was. And it wasn't just about gambling and all that. I didn't have a direction. So the direction that I went to was the fast dopamine rush, right? Like the instant gratification of feeling good about, smoking a blunt, the feeling good of gambling, the doing this, doing that. Because that's the reason why I got stuck in that position, right? In the first place, was because I was so focused on short-term dopamine rush. And when you're building something, when you're building a business or you're building your physique, that's not fast dopamine. Like you have to work on yourself. You have to build that every single day to get to the levels that you want to get to, right? You want to be jacked. You want to have, like I said, more money. You want to, you're jacked. You want to, look leaner. You want to bulk up. Like there's actually levels to where you want to be. So you have to really think about that and really have an understanding of, okay, this is what I need to do. And if you don't have that understanding, then you're cooked, right? That was the biggest thing. But, as I'm down there, I started realizing that, I made that video in 2024 was the video that I was just telling you guys about. I'll put it on the screen right now. This video, I put my goals and I put exactly what I wanted to do. And a lot of that stuff I accomplished. And I accomplished even more than I thought, but that's just because I took fucking action. That's because I actually took the time out of my day to actually write down in a journal, to write down and create that vision board with myself. A lot of things that I don't really tell, on my YouTube, or I don't tell on my Instagram, is I'm always plotting. I'm always trying to figure out what is my next move, what's going to make me happy, what's going to make me be fulfilled. And that's the thing, you can't rely off of anybody but who? Yourself. So start relying off of yourself a little bit more and start to actually focus on yourself and focus on your goals, because that's way, way, way more important. Because when you're so focused on the outer world and what everybody else is doing, that's why you're not becoming successful with that career or with that physique or with that mindset that you want your whole life, because you're so focused on everybody else. And when I was looking at everybody in mind, like, oh, nice cars, nice this, nice that, but it's like, is that really me, truly? Like, is that me? Is that the person that God has created me to be? Not at all. Like, I was created on this earth to inspire, to serve people, and to, make people successful. And that's exactly what I have done this year. And that was one of my goals in that video that I talked about, was becoming the higher level personal trainer. So if that's something that I would do 100%, so to go back in time, right? I moved to Miami, I did all that. But the thing was, ever since I moved down to Miami, I've learned so much about myself that most people my age, or people in general, they don't understand, is when you take such a big risk. I never look back in the past, only on these YouTube videos, only on these things that I talk about. I look back at that stuff when I'm actually recorded a video. It's kind of crazy. I'm over here thinking, I'm writing my notes, like, what am I gonna do for this YouTube video? What am I gonna talk about? But I'm like, why would I just write down stuff if I could just freestyle and go back in time, watch my old video and really get the ideas based off of that? That's what is, inspiring me to really talk off the dome piece in this video, because it's so organic. It just came to my mind. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to make it. Cool. Don't follow anybody else's path, or try to go from one thing to another, because you'll never end up focusing on that one thing. And that's what I've learned. I've mastered quite a bit of things, just kind of moving out my hometown and just all around the mindset. I think the mindset's the most important thing, because the same thing you do one thing is the same way you're going to do the other thing, right? If you go to the gym, you eat, you sleep, you're doing all these things correctly, eventually you'll end up doing something else even more, even better. So it will just compound into other areas of your life. But moving out to Miami was the biggest thing. But to go back on that and to really tell you guys, so as you guys see, now I live into a whole new apartment, it's going to be a lot differently, because I'm about to move in the next 3 months. And it's going to be such a good time. I'm not going to lie to you, because I have a lot of stuff planned. And that's what I've been doing for the past couple of days, right? Like if I ever disappear, I don't ever post a YouTube video, I don't ever post like a reel or something, I'm plotting, I'm not waiting, I'm plotting, I'm actually trying to better my content and try to better the person that I am in general. So this is the lock-in period of really understanding of what I want to do. But yeah, I know this video is kind of long, but let me talk about just a few things that kind of helped that I didn't really talk about in the New Year's video that I can talk about now. But as you guys see of where I went from, right? In Michigan, I had no money. In Houston, I made the most amount of money I possibly can. And now I still make the most amount of money I possibly can because I never went down. It's because I fucking chose the lifestyle and I chose the person that I wanted to become from there. Choose the smoking weed, hanging around bad people, becoming, you know, someone who I didn't want to be. I chose the identity, and that's the reason why I put myself in the position, right? Because you choose the life you want to live, and that's a pure fact. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this video, or they're like, who the fuck is this kid? But in reality, it's like, it doesn't really matter. I know who I am, you know who you are. And I'm speaking from existence, and I'm speaking from, you know, actual creativity levels that I was on at the very, very moment. The first thing that I started doing in the beginning of the year was actually writing down my goals. This is very, very important. So journal. Journaling is super, super important, we know, because like once you have a goal in mind, you're writing it down, you already have it into thought. But if you're someone that doesn't really enjoy journaling and you just journal because it just like, you feel like it's doing something for you, then maybe it's just not for you. Maybe just creating like a vision board is good, because I didn't really create a vision board. I just write in my journal. My journal is kind of like a book to me. It kind of helps me go back. It helps me go back in time to see where I was at. Then I still have journals from when I was in Houston and I was like broke and I didn't know what to do. I still have journals from there. It's like a little bit of journaling, not too much like I am doing now, but I started doing that every single day when I moved out. So when I moved into this apartment, that's when self-development really started happening from me, right? Like really going, obviously I was going to church before, but really going to church, really following a certain system. And yeah, is there times where I can get knocked off of that systems for a couple of days? Yes, I'm not perfect. But journaling definitely really helped me understand of where I wanted to be. So if you're not journaling right now, you're kind of reminding yourself on, you're talking to yourself in the future. You're talking about actually taking action and not just, you know, guessing of where you're going to be. Also this year, I started to schedule out every single hour of the day. And I know it might sound weird. You guys see the little whiteboard in the background. I started to write down exactly what I needed to do. Right? And I have Google Calendar right here, just lined up. I have notes of this video, right? Not so many notes, but just like little key points that I want to, you know, bring up so I don't miss. Organization is going to save you in so many different ways. So if you set yourself up for success this year, definitely download Google Calendar, get a whiteboard, write down 5 tasks, right? Write down 5 goals, write down, you know, a 4-step, 5-step morning routine. Doesn't really matter. It could be more than that. And then write down 5 tasks that are going to help you so you can push the needles for those 5 goals. That's all it is. Either be you want to look better, either you want to work on your nutrition, either you want to work on, you know, your workouts. It doesn't really matter, right? You want a better job. It does not matter in this position. It just means that you're trying to surpass something that you've been always wanting to do. And the only way you can do that is by writing down the goal, having a certain routine in the morning and sticking to that, so your brain is learning that you can actually stick to certain patterns in your life, because that's the most important thing. Can you stick to the pattern every single day? Like, can you wake up and do the same things? Or are you someone that gets very lazy? You sleep in some days, you wake up some days. It's like the patterns are what matter in your life. The patterns actually create your reality. You know, the identity and the patterns are one of the most important things in general. And I might sound like Napoleon Hill or somebody like in a book, but I'm being completely honest. Like, I've noticed the patterns. If I am off, if I'm on, you'll start to realize that you can't do some things during the day because you didn't follow that routine. And the 5 tasks are going to be pushing that needle further so you can become successful with those and actually accomplish them. Because 5 tasks, that means 5 action steps you're gonna get there, right? And if you don't have action steps, and if you're not working towards the goal and you're just only thinking about it, you write in your journal, you do that stuff, it's not gonna come true, because that's where action relies. Investing into yourself also, it relies into action. Some people think when you're invested into a program, you're invested into a mentorship, that shit gets handed to you. Then you have the realization, you wake up one day and you're like, damn, this shit is harder than I thought, right? The same thing that goes into a career, you know, the same reason why you show up to the gym every single day is because you didn't see the result you wanted to see, so you keep showing back up. And that's all it is. That's literally all it is. That's why I've created that step, you know? And the whiteboard can also help you too. I do it literally in 3 ways. You don't have to do that, but I'll do it on my Google Calendar, my 5 for 5, and then I'll also do it on my whiteboard. The whiteboard is when I mainly write down some ideas that I get, or, you know, just certain things. But I have a lot of goals for this year, and I'm super excited to share those. But yeah, I also, like I said, just building better habits, right? It's the same thing of like writing down certain things. Like start going into your notes and write down and track some goals of yours, or track your weight every single day. You know, if you want to lose weight, you know, maybe take an hour out the day to write down some notes about, you know, the job that you want, or go on Indeed and write down whatever it may be. Create the habit of doing it, right? Because there's no way, if you don't even have the habit yet, that doesn't mean that, you know, it's not possible. It just means that you're not even making steps closer to that goal. As simple as that. So building better habits, and that is super, super important. Staying consistent, bro. This is all a consistency pattern, a pattern that is going to help you become successful for your future in any other way possible. The other thing that really, really helped me this year was finding God, and that's the most important. I should have said that for number 1, but finding God was the most important thing for me, because it actually helps me align with my morals, and it helps me align myself. And do I mess up sometimes? Am I 100% clean? Am I 100% like, you know, am I 100% just perfect? No way in life you can be perfect. You're always gonna want, you know, as a man, you're always gonna want a female. You're gonna always want, you know, more money. You're gonna always want these, you know, these fast dopamine things, right? But the thing is like, if you can control that and put a lot of your time during the day and a lot of your time during the week towards the Lord and towards anything that has to do with that, you will build that relationship, or you will become successful in that area. And not even just, that wasn't just about God. That was just more just like, you know, within yourself. And we talked about that. But the biggest thing is like, you know, finding God and figuring out of what makes me feel good. Because at the end of the day, if you're watching this, if you're not a Christian, that's totally fine. If you don't really believe in God, that's totally fine. I feel as, you know, you'll find him soon, because a lot of people are going to him. But I think it's very, very important to understand that you have to figure out what works for you. Like I told you, don't follow anybody else's beliefs. Follow something that impacts you. Remember that. Follow something that impacts you this year. That's what's going to help you. Don't follow anybody else. Only follow yours, and only follow what's going to help you and what makes you feel good within. For watching this video, I really appreciate it. I hope you guys do like and subscribe to this channel. I am going to see you guys in the next one. I think this video was very, very successful. I like what I said off the dome piece. I recorded this video earlier, but the mic wasn't on, and it was very, very bad quality. The DJI, I started not to like the quality on it. It kind of goes a little dim, so I have to use the mic for it to sound good. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Like I said, this year is gonna be fucking our year. I'm gonna have some videos come out before the end of the year, and it's going to be fire. I'm super excited. If you're willing to follow the journey from now on, I'm making this video for 2026, by the way. You know, I might have a little New Year's video maybe, but no. This isn't New Year's. This is setting the foundation to become the top 1%, to become better every single day. That is what this video is for. See you guys in the next one. Peace.